After the wedding, I went to get my stuff, said goodbye to my parents, and we got home. Whole argument.
The wedding night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How about what?
About my hair.
Oh.
My hair, the makeup. Jay, I told you, like, oh no, you don't look too beautiful with all these extra stuff. Like, why didn't you do what I told you to do? And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is the first day. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, am I gonna spend the rest of my years with this person?
Yeah.
So nothing really changed. That was just the first day. So he called me immediately, like, what's going on, you know? So I told him, I'm like, I've been feeling funny. And I had to take a pregnancy test and I'm pregnant. And he's like, what? I'm like, I'm pregnant. Yes, I'm pregnant. He didn't believe me, but he told me to get another pregnancy test to come to his place.
You don't have five.
I know. I even sent him the picture. He's like, no, you have to take it in front of me. That's what he told me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I bought a pregnancy test and I went to his place and took it, and it came out and it said positive, and we were just laughing. Like it didn't hit. Like reality didn't hit. Like even though I was pregnant, but like we're broken up. Like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like we just started laughing and like I don't know. So after that, he told me, okay, let's take some time to think about this. He's going to talk to his family, and I should also talk to my family. And then he's also going to get the pastor involved because when he was over here, he was staying with his aunt. So like the pastor was like his father figure at that time. So he's like, okay, I'm going to talk to pastor so we can figure out like what to do, you know, going forward. So I went back and I told my mom. So I told him that I'm pregnant. And I told him I'm pregnant, and he said he's going to talk to his family and talk to pastor, and I should come talk to you guys to see what we can do going forward because, you know, I decided to keep the baby. So we need to know the best way to raise this child. So my dad was, from the start, he's like, if you don't want to be with that guy, don't force it. We're going to be here to help you raise this child. I'm telling you. Don't let them come convince you. Don't let them come manipulate you. If you know you're done with him and you know you don't want to see yourself going back to that situation, it is okay. You don't have to be with him. So remember that. My dad kept enforcing, it is okay. You don't have to be with him. It is okay. You don't have to be with him. I'm like, okay, we're still going to figure out what to do. Because at that time, like I said, back then my parents got a divorce. His parents also got a divorce. So now I'm thinking like, I don't want to raise a baby in a broken home, you know? So even if, I don't know, something in the back of my head was like, even if I have to be with him for the baby, I'll try to work it out for the baby, yeah. My dad did not like the sound of that. But, yeah, so some time went by, you know. I think I was about 3.5, 4 months pregnant at that time. So yeah, after some time, we were still like figuring out what to do. So they finally made a meeting. He said he talked to his family, he talked to the pastor, and they want to meet with my family. So before they met with my family, one time he just called me and he was like, hey, can you meet me at church? Pastor wants to talk to us. So not knowing, I mean, now after that, I knew like they already decided what they thought would be best without even telling me. I didn't even know. So I found out during that time. I went to the meeting, and yeah, so I met up with him. We met at church, met with pastor, and went to his office. And he's like, oh, you know, he told me what happened, you know, that you guys are expecting and, you know, you're pregnant. So he kept enforcing like, you know, you guys are the face of the church, because I was still
Because she's saying?
Yeah, because I was in the praise and worship, and he also used to lead prayers and like do intercessory prayers and stuff. So yeah, he's like, he kept enforcing that. So I knew like that was kind of a way to like convince me in some way, but I kind of, you know, stood my ground. I kind of remember my dad kept saying like, if you don't want to be with this guy, don't let them force you, don't let them convince you. So I was just sitting there like, okay, like, yeah, I know I'm in praise and worship. And he's like, you know, me and him have talked several times to try to figure this out. So the best thing would be to marry you guys, like for y'all to get married.
It sounds like that decision came to protect the church, not to protect you or him, because you were the face. If I come to your church and I see that a singer is married and having a kid, it looks good. But if I come to your church and I see that the singer is not married but having a kid with the praise worship leader, it doesn't look good. So it's more to protect the church, not for the best of you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, he said the best thing to do was for them to put us together to get married before I will never forget this. He's like, before I start showing. Before I start showing. And then he's like,
it was rushed too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I start showing. And then he's like, in some churches, you know, they'll put you guys down, like your roles that you're playing in church, or sometimes they'll kick you guys out of church. But you know, my church is different, but we just have to protect the church. We have to protect the church. So I'm still quiet because I'm trying to process everything. Like, okay, this is really coming from a pastor. Like, we're not even dating yet. You want to, you know, bring marriage into this. So after that meeting, I think we had I sat with them again. And the second time I came to sit with them, I guess he already talked to pastor to arrange how it's going to be. And he got the ring. And
you didn't even say yes yet.
I didn't say yes. I didn't get proposed to or anything like that. So my ring was there. He pulled the ring out of the drawer, like, yeah, this is the ring that he got.
You can say, no, the ring is here.
Right. I'm like, can I just see the color of it?
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. So he pulled out the ring. He's like, yeah, he already bought the ring and everything. According to him, he said that he was going to propose to me on our 1 year or 2 year anniversary, but because I got him mad, he didn't propose to me.
Okay. Not being your fault, but okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he pulled out the ring and he's like, yeah, so this is the ring. We're going to start doing marriage counseling, which only lasted like 3 days. He just read through books. And then,
the pastor read through books to counsel y'all. It wasn't personalized to you and him. Okay, so first of all, I'm so sorry, but I'm just trying to process this. He rushed on to marriage. Didn't even counsel y'all properly for 3 days. Just read through the book. He just come to the meeting and he tells you A, B, C, and D, and that was it. Do you think? Now I'm let you finish your story, and then I'm gonna ask a question. Go on.
Yeah. So the 3 days counseling, just read through the books. It did not help, obviously, because he didn't even go to depths or anything like that. And then we started planning for the wedding. It was about during that time, it was like maybe 3 months. They even chose a date. Yeah, they chose a date. Yeah. So
do you would you man, there's so much to like process through this. So in marriage, did you guys experience the exact same thing that you were experiencing in dating, or you think marriage life changed him to be a better man?
So okay, let me get into the wedding and everything.
Okay.
And then I'll get to that. So yeah, like I said, they planned the wedding, they planned the date, even started planning what the attire, the colors and everything. I didn't even have a say. He told me how to wear my hair. Yes. He told me how to wear my hair. He sent me pictures of how my dress is going to be like. The cloth we're going to use. And since it was a traditional wedding, like how things are going to go traditionally and stuff like that. So after that first meeting, I went back home and told my parents about it. So that was the first meeting when they first like told me about the whole marriage thing, and my dad was upset.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like, no, this is not gonna happen.
Daddy.
Yeah. But then my mom, she was like, obviously we're not in agreement with it, but if this is something you want, my mom always, you know, wanted me to choose, because again, you know,
if it makes
I
you
was the
happy,
one in the situation.
Yeah.
If this is something you want, we're gonna be here to support you, but we don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
First of all, you're young, you're pregnant, you don't even know how to be a wife or a mother, you know, and they're just gonna throw you into marriage like that. Like, it's gonna be a disaster. Like, you know, but what was going through my head again? Oh yeah, I was able to conceive, you know, and maybe this marriage thing will work. Yeah. Maybe he will change. Who knows? You know, they always say that maybe, you know, the person will change in marriage. Yeah. So I was 50-50 with it. Like, I didn't want to do it because it was unplanned. It was too fast. I wasn't ready. But at the same time, half of me was like, okay, maybe this is going to bring a change. Maybe it will work. So that's why I wasn't really saying yes or no. It was kind of like a maybe, or I would just flow and go with it. So fast forward to the wedding. The wedding day, well, so we didn't see each other prior to the wedding. Yeah, we didn't see each other prior to the wedding. I guess it's a tradition or whatever, or something like that. The bride cannot see the husband. Yeah. I told you he wanted my hair a certain way. Yeah. But I decided to do my hair. I didn't do it. Oh, no. I didn't do it. I did my own thing. So like I said, we didn't see each other before the wedding. So, you know, I came in with a cloth over my head, the traditional thing. Yeah, cloth over my head, you know, everybody, ooh, whatever. No, matter of fact, let me rewind. Let me rewind. So when I was getting my makeup done, I don't know if I should say who was doing it. Okay, I was getting my makeup done. It was pastor's wife. Pastor's wife was doing my makeup. And I kept telling her, like, I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't know if it's nerves or what, but I don't think I want to do this anymore. And this was on my wedding day. In the morning, I was getting my makeup done. This was my wedding day. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think I can do this. I just don't think I want this anymore.
And
like,
what'd she say?
She's like, oh, honey, it's just, you know, it's just wedding. It's just nerves. You know, you'll get over it. Go out there and shine like the star you are. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I told you what I was feeling, and I guess, you know, she convinced me to, it's just nerves.
That's his wife.
Yeah, it's just nerves, you know. Now thinking back, I'm like, what if she really would have asked me what was wrong?
No. Yeah.
Just imagine she would have asked me, why are you feeling this way? What's really going on? Why are you upset? Why don't you want to do this? Yeah. If she would have asked me those questions, I feel like I wouldn't have gotten in that situation that I went through. Because I would have told her, I would have opened up to her. Yeah. Because at that time, you know, a lot of things are going through my head. Yeah. You know, I would have told her, oh, things are not right. You know, this thing is too fast. I don't think I'm ready, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure she would have gave me good advice, you know, to not force me into it. But she didn't. She just ignored how I was feeling and made it seem like it was just nerves. You know, I was just nervous about it. So I'm like, that was my only hope, but I guess it failed me. It failed me because I never opened up to anyone.
About how you really felt about the whole...
I never opened up to anyone. So I'm like, just imagine, that was like my perfect chance, but...
It was like you're screaming for help, but it's like for your mouth.
But yeah, she's like, just, you know, go out there, do you, shine, you know, you're the bride, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, I'm the bride. So I finished up my makeup, went to get my hair done. So yeah, fast forward to the wedding. I came in, you know, sat down, and they took the cloth. They took. I even have the video. They took the cloth off, and his face. He was like,
he wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy because
you didn't do the hair that he wanted.
Yeah, I didn't do the hair, and even the makeup. He didn't even want me to wear makeup.
Excuse me. Not on your wedding day.
Yeah. He's like, oh, because makeup make ladies look different and they're not their natural beauty self, whatever. But yeah, it's like his face, I could tell I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, this is about to be something. This is about to be something.
You were even happy on your wedding day?
I was not happy. I wasn't. Even for him to like hold my hand, someone had to tell him, oh, hold your wife's hand.
Oh.
Yes. Hold your wife's hand. And then, it got to the point with the saying I do. I should have said I don't and ran out of that place, but I'm like, dang, everybody's here.
I can't disappoint them.
I can't. So even though I really didn't want to say I do, I still said I do, just to go with the whole plan. So, after everything, we didn't even have a reception. It was just a quick, honestly, it was just a quick wedding thing. Seriously, it was like a quick wedding thing. I mean, they decorated the place nice. Yeah, it was cute. I liked it. But yeah, so from that day, like, I moved in with him. So after the wedding, like, I went to take my stuff finally, say goodbye to my parents, Well, let me rewind a little bit. Before the wedding, my mom actually sat me down to talk to me, to give me the whole advice thing about being a wife and stuff like that. So she's like, again, like, if this is something you want, go for it. We're always here. If you need any help, if you feel like if you feel like you don't want this again, you're always welcome back. You're always welcome back to the house. But you're on your own now. I can't do anything. I've taught you what I could teach you, cooking, cleaning, you've learned. So, I mean, I feel like you're on your own at this point. You're not going to become a mother. She just gave me that. I was in tears. I was like, okay. Yeah. But, so yeah, after the wedding, I went to get my stuff, said goodbye to my parents, and we got home. Whole argument.
The wedding night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How about what?
About my hair.
Oh.
My hair, the makeup. Jay, I told you, like, oh no, you don't look too beautiful with all these extra stuff. Like, why didn't you do what I told you to do? And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is the first day. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, am I gonna spend the rest of my years with this person?
Yeah.
So nothing really changed. That was just the first day. Like, I wanted to break down so bad, but it's like, it's too late. I already said I do. I already took my stuff, and now I'm
How
stuck
many
here.
months were you now?
I was like 6 months.
Okay.
6 months pregnant. Yeah. Okay. But I was very little, so even like in my wedding dress, you could barely tell. Oh yeah, by the way, with that, I had to wear a waist trainer. He told me to wear a waist trainer so my belly don't show. Yeah. But I was very little, so even with the waist trainer, I know it sounds really bad. But yeah, even with the waist trainer, like, I was very little, so I wasn't showing. But like, I was popping out a little bit, but I had to wear a waist trainer.
What about the baby?
I mean, she was fine. She was fine. But yeah.
See, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know. But to me, it sounds like the baby's in there like it's squished. Like, what?
Yeah, so I remember I had to wear a waist trainer to cover, for it not to show, because we didn't want really the church knowing. It was supposed to be like a secret thing, kind of, until like we got married, and then like when I start showing, like, oh, you guys did it fast, those kind of things. Yeah. So yeah, I wore a waist trainer with my wedding dress. It was bad. But yeah, like, he was just going off about the whole hairstyle thing, and how, like, when he tells me to do something, I have to, like, listen to him, and I can't do my own thing because he knows best, and blah, 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 blah.
So nothing changed?
Nothing changed. And it lasted until...
How long?
Until I had the baby.
Wait, so you divorced him right after the baby?
Wait, what?
You divorced him after the baby. Like, how long did the marriage last?
Oh, it lasted for 5 years.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, what?
But, I thought you meant, like, how long did it last for him to, like, be controlling and stuff?
Oh, so he stopped?
No, he was continuing. Like, after even the first day of the marriage, like, the wedding night. Like, the wedding night. That's why I say it continued.
Okay.
So it continued. With just different stuff. Like, even when I was pregnant, like, when he comes home, there has to be food. Like, it was bad. It was bad. But when I had the baby, he changed. I don't know if it's because of the baby. I don't know. He changed for just a little bit. He changed for a little bit. But yeah, he was starting to be nice to me. Like, he wasn't really complaining too much. And yeah, things were good. Things were good when I had her. Yeah, things were good. So we were at his place for about a year. And then we ended up buying a house. So we bought like a family home and moved. Like I said, around that time, things were good. Things were good. And then I got pregnant again with my son. I got pregnant with my son. Things were on and off with us. But like I said, I never opened up because I was, I just knew, like, some people say, like, when you're in marriage, you don't really tell people what's going on inside a home. So that's why it was hard for me to even, like, reach out to my parents or anything like that. Yeah. So even when times were tough, like, I never reached out to my parents. So they never knew what was going on. And even when we come over, I'm all smiling and stuff. They think everything's good. Yeah. But when I go back home, it's a whole different situation. But yeah, things were on and off. I had my son. He was nice to me again. He changed for a little bit. And then, like, things turned south again with him. Like, controlling, like, telling me I couldn't cook some of my country foods. It had to be strictly Ghanaian, knowing that I'm not Ghanaian. Yeah. So that was a challenge because, he would even set up, like, he called it cook dates with his aunt. And I would go over to his aunt's place and she would teach me how to cook this and that. Yeah. I mean, I appreciated it, but I felt like I was forced to do it because that's all he wanted to eat. Yeah, that lasted on and off. I'm trying to fast forward to see. Yeah, that went on and off.
What are some things you learned in marriage?
Things that I learned in marriage. Good things.
All things.
All things. When you're married, it doesn't mean you can't have people around.
You can still have friends.
You can still have friends. And I let all my friends go because now I'm wifey, real. I have to pay attention to my husband, focus on my family. And that's one thing I would change. That's definitely one thing. I will keep my friends around, the good friends, I will keep them around. If it's essential, I will, get my family involved and not just isolate myself. Because the moment I isolated myself, it's like, now he gets to take control. There's nowhere I can go. So yeah, we had arguments to a point where he would sleep in the guest room for months.
Months?
Months.
Okay.
Yes, months. He got like 2-3 jobs and he would just work, come home. And I feel like he did that because he didn't want to, like, see me or something like that. Yeah, like, he just wanted to be away. And I'm here with the 2 kids, 2 under 2. Yeah, 2 under 2. I wasn't working at the time, so it was just him making income for the family. But yeah, he moved into the guest room. He would go to work, come home, eat. Sometimes eat my food, sometimes don't. Sometimes eat from outside. It lasted for a long period of time. That lasted, like I said, about 3 months. Yeah, 3 months he basically lived in the guest room. Yeah.
So at what point did you decide, I gotta go?
So even when I was pregnant with my son, I had a moment where I wanted to leave, but he got his family to talk to me on behalf of the kid of my daughter and on behalf of the kids. And I'm like, okay, on behalf of the kids. So I stayed. Another reason why I got to that point is because it used to like affect my health. Like I used to have panic attacks, like bad ones. Like I'll go to the hospital. He'll have to call the ambulance. Like it was bad.
Oh my God.
It was really bad. Yeah. And even my family knew, but again, I don't know what they thought, but I could remember one time they took me to the emergency, and he came in and he knew my family was coming to see me. He's like, "Oh, this wasn't my fault, right? This wasn't my fault." And I'm over here like, "No." But I knew it was, but he convinced me like, "So if your family come, tell them it's not my fault." Oh. Yeah. Tell them it's not my fault. So they kept asking, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, nothing. It's just stress, because I was trying to go to school too at that time. So I put it on school, like, oh, it's just stress, with the kids and trying to go to school and stuff. But it was totally him. It was his fault. But I didn't want to, make him look bad because, I have to protect my husband. Yeah. So like I said, things went on and off for a long time. He moved to the guest room. And there is this is what, a lot of things kind of like added
to the final breaking point.
To the final breaking point. I'm a very quiet person, so even when I get into argument with him, I'll be the one trying to like make peace, but he would like try to like, get away from me or something like that. He didn't want to like he would give me the cold shoulder basically. So it's like we were strangers living together. And that's the worst feeling. Yeah. I don't know if you experienced that.
Never, but I can imagine.
Like just being ignored, like coldly being ignored and not like living with someone, but they're not talking to you.
I'll be in your face like, why are you ignoring me? Do you hear me? What's up? Yeah. I'll be in your face, but that's just me.
Yeah, so with that, that added to it, the little arguments here and there, that added to it, my panic attacks, that added to it, him not eating my food. As a wife, I'm cooking like, honey, your food is ready. He didn't eat my food, He's like, no, I'd rather go and eat Burger King or McDonald's.
Not him eating.
That added to it. And then he would tell people I don't cook, which is bizarre because like I will cook. He would tell people, oh, I don't cook. And then like people come ask me, oh, is it true that your husband is saying you don't cook? Like he will basically complain to like Pastor, his wife, all the time. She'll always be calling me. And anyways, that added to it. And then this particular night, I could remember we're talking about something. We're planning something. I think he wanted to like go to school or something like that. And like my daughter was like interrupting, like she kept coming and like throwing stuff. So I was trying to like, talk to her and calm her down. And I sat her down on the stairs. She was like maybe 2 at the time. And I'm like, you need to stop throwing stuff. Like I was disciplining her as a mom would do. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you need to stop throwing stuff. Me and daddy are talking. You need to either you go play or you sit down. And, I sat her down. And then she started crying. You know how kids are dramatic. She started crying with snot everywhere, like yelling and crying and screaming. She was very dramatic. So I don't know if he thought I hit her or I like aggressively pushed her down or something. And then he's like, as a mother, you're not supposed to do that to your child. You're not supposed to hurt your child. So I was going back at him like I never even touched her. Like I just sat her down. I just talked to her aggressively. That's it. I never like touched her or anything like that. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're going to end up hurting her. That's not what mothers are supposed to do. I thought you were better than that, blah, blah, blah. So we were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So like I could feel myself probably having another panic attack. So it was so bad. Like I remember taking off my ring. I threw it at him and I walked out the door crying. It was raining. I was barefoot. It was like one of those movies.
It's a movie. Oh my God.
It was like one of those movies. I was barefoot. I didn't even care.
Wait,
like
where
it was
was the kids?
They were with him.
Okay, you just left like I'm done.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It was raining. I was just walking on the street crying like, God, kill me now. Yes. It was so bad. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So for some reason, I don't know, because the pastor wife never goes our house way, but she was passing by that day. She was passing by that day. She saw me and she came back. She's like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you crying? What happened? Like, she was trying to figure out what's going on. So she got out of the car. She parked. She walked me back in the house. She's like, I was just coming. You know, I never went this way, but God just told me to come this way for some reason. I was just led to come this way. And I saw my daughter out here crying. What's going on? What's going on? And he told her that because he told me not to discipline my daughter, that's why I'm crying. And he knew what he said. He knew the things that he said to really hurt me. Like, anyways, so, and then he started going on about how I'm not being a good wife, how I don't clean, because, you know, if you have children, you understand. No matter how many times you clean, they will still mess up the place. So even the time she came in, there were toys everywhere, food everywhere. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, just take a look at this place. Oh, the dishes have been in the sink since yesterday, blah, blah, blah. Like, just making me look so bad. And she too, like, I guess she believed him. And she sat me down telling me, oh, take your ring, put your ring back on. She took the ring back off the floor and put it back on my hands. She's like, one thing you should never do is take off your ring. You don't just take off your ring like that. It symbolizes something. So never take off your ring. No matter how angry you are, never take off your ring. So she was trying to convince me, like, talk to me. Oh yeah, as a wife, you know, just take your time little by little, you know, just clean here. You don't have to clean the whole day. Like, basically believing what he was saying, right? And I'm just over here just crying like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even have words to say. Like, I couldn't even say anything. Like, after that incident, like, I just went cold. I
thought that lady was the final. You know, you left.
No, no. But she brought me back and put the ring back on my finger.
Okay, so when did you actually leave?
So that, I believe, after everything I said, added on to that. Yeah. And then with that situation, like I said, I just grew cold towards him. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't let him touch me. Like, I felt like my love for him just died. Like, it got to that point where I'm like, I'm done with this man. Yeah. Like, now I'm just seeing him as my kid's father. I don't even love him anymore. Like, it just died. I grew so cold. Like, okay, he's a friend to me now, even though he's the father of my kids. So I guess he started noticing. I don't know. He started noticing, like, I wasn't. Cold. Yeah, I was very cold. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even talk to him. Like, when he's talking to me, I would just ignore him. You know, just, it changed me. It really did change me. Like, I'm not that person, but it really made me to be a different person. At that time, like, things were a little bit hard financially because he had to go back to school. So he ended up quitting 2 of his jobs. So now he was just doing one full-time job and trying to go to school. So we were behind on bills. And in church, I was in charge of, like, the choir dues. So they used to give me the dues and to keep it. So one time, so during that time, he's like, oh, you know, we're behind, you know, on this bill. Why don't you go take the choir money, you know, for us to try to cover it, and then we'll put it back. I knew that it would take some time before we put that money back. And I told him, I said, I don't think we should do that. I'm just suggesting. I'm not telling you what to do, but I just don't think we should do that because I know that even before you get your next paycheck, it's going to be a while, you know, because he was on salary. The paychecks are different or something like that. I'm like, it's going to take a while, I know, before you put it back. And sometimes we're at church and, like, the choir director would just be like, oh, Jay, why don't you take some money? Let's all go out to eat. You know, randomly he would just ask. And, you know, I have it, so I'm like, okay. But I just knew, like, what if they ask and it's not there? That would be a whole issue. Like, that's people's money, you know? It's not like we have a savings or something like that. So I told him, no, I don't think it's a good idea. That was another huge argument. He was telling me, I don't like to help. I don't like to support the family. When it comes to helping, I'd rather see my children starve and die or starve to death or something like that. He brought the kids into it. I'd rather see my family starve to death before I can even come in and help. And for some, even though that was a little statement, but I feel like that was just the breaking point for me. Like, that was it for me. Like, just that little words about my kids, seeing them starve or, like, not supporting or not taking care of them or seeing them to starve, like, that was it for me. Like, we were back and forth, yelling at each other back and forth, and I just left and I went upstairs, closed the door. The kids were asleep at that time. closed the door, and I just broke down. I prayed. I said, God, I can't do this anymore. Like, I know marriage is a beautiful thing, but this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. I said, God, I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry. I know you don't like divorce, but I'm done. I can't. That's it. Yes, it's silently killing me. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Like, I literally gave up. Like, I didn't even see myself being a mother at that point. Like, that's how bad it went. And I took some time. I called my mom. I was crying, but I couldn't even really talk. So she said I should call her the following day tomorrow. I should call her the following day because like I was just I don't know. I was just crying and like breathing and like it was hard. It was hard to even open up and tell her what was going on. So the next day I went over to their place and I told my mom. I said, I'm done. I tried. It's been like 4 or 5 years now. It's, it went on for a while. I never opened up, but I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore.
What she said?
She said, like I said, you're welcome back. You're welcome back. So
I don't know who mommy is.
Yeah, she's like, you're welcome back. So after that time, I went cold with him again and wasn't really interacting with him, wasn't talking to him. And I just told him, because he was leaving to go to work, I said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, I need a break. I want to, go take a break at my parents' place. And this man was like, there is nothing called break in marriage. If you're leaving, you take your things and go, or you stay and endure whatever's going on in the house, and just left. That was his final words to me. So I thought about it. I'm like, well, I guess that's my only choice. I'm not gonna do it anymore. So you gotta go. I'm taking my things. So I took some of my stuff. I packed some of my stuff because my parents didn't live too far from my house. So I'm like, I can come anytime. So I took some of my stuff, and some of my kids' stuff, and I moved out. I moved out with my kids to stay with my parents. I was going back and forth, moving more of my stuff. I finally took all my stuff. And even the last day that I took most of my stuff, he got his family on the phone, his sister in the UK, talking about, please don't do this to my brother. My brother been through so much. He's so young. I'm like, wait, what about me?
Does she know about you?
Yeah, she knew. But I bet like he probably painted it in a way where it was my fault. Like, I was doing this, I was doing that. So when she said it, I'm like, nah, this man family don't even care about me. Like, they're just looking out for their brother. I'm like, nah. I told her, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I've already made my decision. I'm leaving. So yeah, he moved out of state. He's remarried now. So I feel like from that point, we did get the divorce. And even with that, he served me the papers, which was crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got a knock on my door one day. This white lady have like these files. She's like, yeah, I have some confidential, papers for you. Yeah, he served me with a divorce. And I felt like, because the time we had the talk, right, we were just trying to separate at that time. We never really talked about filing for divorce yet. I don't know. I don't think things would have worked out, but we were just separated because, divorce with lawyers and stuff. So we wasn't really thinking about that. So I felt like he kind of used that in a way to, it's like he knew his next move, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So instead of us coming in together and saying, okay, we're going to have a divorce. Let's talk about custody and all that.
Yeah.
He used what I said about things are not going to work. Let's just separate for this time. And he went back, got a lawyer, and served me with divorce papers. So it's like he already knew his next move, but he was still trying to pretend like maybe he wanted me back or whatever. But yeah, I got served with the divorce papers. And, we talked about separation divorce, which was fine. The divorce was fine. But it was the custody. He was asking for full custody of the kids.
Oh, not from the mother.
Yes, full custody of the kids. And even that time, he already because when the kids were with me for some time, the kids were with me for a while when he moved out of state. So he asked to take the kids for some time. And after he took the kids for some time, not telling me, he went and put the kids in school. So within that period of time, like, they were already in school, and they've already spent that amount of time to be considered as Tulsa residents. So it was very hard for me to even try to get them back, because now the government, or not the government, but the judge and stuff is looking at the kids. You know, they always look after the kids' well-being. You know, oh, you can't just relocate the kids to a whole nother state. So for me to even fight for custody, it was a battle. So, you know, we went back and forth. I ended up having to get a lawyer over there. It was a lot, but we got the divorce, and we got shared custody of the kids, but he was granted physical custody of them. That means that they get to live with him. So up to now, you know, I only have like holiday visits with my kids, and still a struggle trying to even get them back to where they were born, you know? Yeah. So it's I have hard days sometimes.
What God has for you will definitely happen. And I love the fact that you have that connection with him, and, you know, in worship and everything. So it allows you to have the peace in the storm that it's going to be okay. It might take some days, some months, some years, but it's going to be okay. Okay, so I've watched your live worships, and you come off to me as a very powerful woman of God. You're not just saying, but you can talk about the Bible, you can break down the Bible, you can teach it to people. So I want you to advise the woman watching you. They may not relate 100% to your story, but there's pieces that they can relate. The woman watching you, I want you to advise that woman that's going through what you went through, with your, you know, the little touch of pizzazz you have when it comes to speaking to women, when it comes to the powerful, I don't know how to even say, like, I feel like you have this thing when you get to that place that you speak well. So I want you to advise that woman watching you right now.
Do I look at the camera?
Yes.
I would say, as a woman, knowing your worth and also knowing who you are in Christ, I see myself as, you know, I'm precious to God. And women, we carry a special grace. That's how I always view myself. So even when you're struggling through life, or even when you're going through difficult situations, just know that you have that special grace upon your life, and God is going to carry you through. That's what, you know, always makes me to go through, you know, difficulties in life, that God has a special grace upon my life, and I'm treated different. If that makes sense. I'm treated different. Yeah.
Thank you. I feel like if I was a viewer, not knowing, like, you know, this interview and how it went, everything, I was a viewer watching you, I would cry. I'd be like, what? I'd be like, no. She should have, like, what? No. Like, it would be a lot of moments for me where you could have overreacted. You could have done the worst things possible ever, but you didn't. I want to say kudos to you for pushing through, for sticking with what, you know, you faced your adversities and your trials and tribulations, and you said, I'm going to push through, I'm going to be what God said I can be. It is a peace and there's some calmness in this storm that's happening. And he said, there's going to be brighter days. So I'm going to use that word to push me to the end. So I love that about you, that you went through the fire, like how you mentioned, but you didn't come out ashes. You came out with beauty. And I love that. So I love the fact that you can even sit here and talk to me about it. It's not easy hearing your story. So a big thank you to you for that. And also advising the viewers. And I want to say congratulations to where you're at now. It sounds off, but it's a progress. It's a lot for where you're at now. So congratulations to you and where you're going. I can't wait to see where God's gonna take you. And I can invite me to your next wedding, please, because I want to be a witness. Now I know her story. I know what she's been through. She deserves all of this. So I want to say thank you and much love to you.
Thank you
for being on Power Her.
Thank you.